Hi, and welcome to another episode of Honest AF Show with me, Daniela Clark.
And me, Barbara Ann Wild.
And guess what? We have a new studio.
Yes, we're official.
We're moving up in the world. Moving on up. I won't sing.
We actually made the choice to do this right at the pre-shadow period of Mercury retrograde. So anything goes, folks. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, Barb brought all her ghostly friends in here to interrupt technically here.
So great.
But how cool. It's
so cool.
Yeah, it's a new little venture for us to have video.
Yeah.
So kind of exciting.
Everyone's after us to be on YouTube more, so we're trying to make it a little easier for us because we're technically insufficient.
Challenged. Majorly challenged. Barb, before we talk about your insane trip, which I want to hear about, you haven't even seen.
I have not in person. I'm so excited.
Our little article that came out that you may have heard on our podcast when we were being interviewed by Lena. And
Lena Licaro.
Yes.
She's amazing.
She is so amazing. And so she did a little story on us on our podcast.
So
And here
cool.
it is in person. You get to see it in person now for the first time.
I'm super excited.
Because you're out traveling like a crazy person.
I know. I mean, I am still so jet lagged. And I generally go, I'm so excited to read through this. This is exciting.
It's cool.
Yay, everybody.
Yeah.
We're really moving on up.
Yeah, look at us go.
But I usually go to Restore Hyper Wellness, which there's several, I mean, there's spas like that all over the country now.
Right.
But I get the IV infusions of like glutathione and lysine and the B vitamins and stuff just to help me so that I don't end up with jet lag. And it works. But this trip, I couldn't go beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
I booked an appointment right when we got home, but it's just it's not happening. I mean, Zach Sabbath and I have been going to bed at like 9 or 10 o'clock at night and getting up at like 4, 5, 6 in the morning every day. It's just been crazy.
It's so funny because you think like after all the years of touring and traveling that we've done that we would not get jet lag.
I know.
You know, Gilby rarely gets jet lag, but I always do.
You did when we went and
I was
visited
hitting
Sharon
walls left and
Osbourne.
right. Yeah.
You were getting it, and most people do. They say when you travel east is when you get jet lag.
Mm-hmm.
I seem to get it when I gain time and I go home.
That's interesting, yeah, because when I came home from London,
You were fine.
I was fine.
I
But
know.
when I was there, I remember in particular one afternoon when we went for drinks to that hotel.
Yes.
Was it
Yeah.
Claridge's?
Yes.
We were sitting there and you and Sharon were talking and we're having champagne, excuse me, having champagne and we're chit-chatting
Totally.
and all of a sudden I just hit a wall and I felt like I was going to keel over.
It's amazing when you get that wave because you have to, you just can't fight it.
No.
You just have to kind of.
I remember Sharon even looked at me and she's like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, she's like,
I was like, "No, I'm
Daniela. I've had that happen to me a couple of times now. And yesterday I took Zach to Dr. Murad's a day because he's always like, making sure that Zach's hair looks as amazing as it always does. And we were sitting in Dr. Murad's a day's office, and I'm like sitting there talking to him, and all of a sudden he's telling me all these latest and greatest procedures, and I was all excited to tell him he needs to come and be on our show again.
Yeah.
He was telling me about the sperm. The
Excuse
new
me?
sperm facial that Kim Kardashian just did.
Sperm facial?
I don't know what animal the sperm comes from.
I was going to say, is it human? Is it animal?
I do not
know.
believe it's human sperm, because if it were, it might be too much information. But my skin would be amazing. I think
Everybody,
it's like
Barb's glow.
it's some kind of everyone asks me what I do for my skin.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
secret's out, everybody. But no, no, I think it's some animal of some sort.
Yeah.
But
Still.
he was trying to tell me about it.
Nasty.
And it's something that I would be completely excited and interested to learn about.
Sure.
And I was like nodding off
It's
while he
so
was
up
talking
your
to me.
alley.
I'm like, Dr. Morazadeh, I am so jet lagged. I apologize.
He was
I'm
probably looking at you guys going, those damn musicians are still doing drugs. They're nodding out. Oh my God.
Right?
Yeah. But
yeah.
how was it? So how
Oh
was
my
Italy? You went to
gosh.
London again, and then you went to
Yes.
Venice.
Yes. Well, no, we went to Barcelona in the middle there.
that's
so
right.
what happened was, as I've said on the podcast before, Hendrix got accepted into Cambridge for college.
Right.
He just graduated with his 4 year, so it's kind of like it's an internship in a research lab. He does cognitive science, and I know that bores you to tears, but we were super
Not at
excited.
all.
We were super excited.
Yeah.
Of course, me, I'm like so into it. I'm like, can I hide in the dorm and be in on the lectures with you? But we went over there a couple days early because Sabbath and Hendrix's birthdays are both early July. Sabbath is 4th of July and Hendrix is the 8th. So we left on the 2nd, got there the 3rd, and then we decided to celebrate Sabbath's birthday there. And because Sabbath is such a foodie, and I mean, this kid, he eats everything. His palate is so developed, it's unbelievable. Like his
great.
Aunt Randy constantly says, I think he's going to cook when he grows up. He's going to be a chef or something.
Wow, that would be
But
such a blessing.
do you follow Cedric Grolet?
No.
Okay, so there is this world famous pastry chef that his pastries are almost as easy on the eyes as he is, but he's like this phenom. And Chloe Trillo shared him with me. She was like, we were talking about food or pastries or something, and she's like, do you know of Cedric Grolet? And I said, no, and she turned me on to him. Zach and I will get stuck down a rabbit hole, and we will watch his Instagram for like an hour. He makes everything himself, and he has become such a celebrity that in his original bakery in Paris, he'll have people all lined up at the windows and watching him, and then he takes samples out for everybody.
Oh, wow.
And it is incredible. So, ironically enough, he's just opened a
I
bakery.
hate watching stuff on TV or on Instagram that's cooking because I just want to eat it.
Oh,
and I'm like, oh, can I please have like a sample?
You have no idea. So I got so excited because follow him all the time.
Yeah.
And I saw that he opened a pastry shop at full service inside the Berkeley Hotel in London, right off of Hyde Park.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, I'm going to see. Maybe we'll go there and have high tea or brunch or something for Sabbath's birthday.
How
Turns
fun.
out they do something called a goatee, because he's Grolet, so it's goatee, Goutea. And they do a private tasting, 2 savory dishes, and then 3 sweet. On private on the bar, cooking the bar where they cook, and you're able to do it just private. So I was able to get the 4 of us for a private tasting at his place. And they did a little menu with said happy 12th birthday to Sabbath.
Oh, nice.
And it was so fantastic. And I mean, Sabbath could not stop smiling. He was beside himself. It was so delicious and so amazing. And the pastry chef that we had, she was absolutely drop dead gorgeous too. So Hendrix was like, I don't know if Hendrix was salivating from the pastries or from the chef. She was so beautiful and lovely, so sweet to Sabbath. And it was just like a dream. And then we left there and we walked through Hyde Park, and there was a cowboy festival with
in London.
Morgan Whaley was the headliner. And so we're walking through Hyde Park, and there's all these like people dressed up like American cowboys, and they're like, their cowboy boots and their little cowboy outfits and their hats. And we were like, what is going on? And then Zach and I took Sabbath to the London Eye that night, which we had never done. So we had a great
So
time.
fun.
We got Hendrix settled at Cambridge. And then Zach had a show with Pantera in Barcelona. So we flew from London to Barcelona. And that was really fun because we got there a day early. And Philip Ansamo is really, really into horror and all like the animatronic or I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, like scary monsters and all of that stuff. So Barcelona had a haunted house, and Zach stayed back with Sabbath, but I went. It was
Zach didn't go with you?
Zach did not go.
Wow, I'm surprised.
He was. I think he was just beside himself, tired too. He got hit while we were there. Like I would look around, or I got shots of him in like bars and restaurants all through England, Barcelona, Italy, where he just like fell asleep in the middle of our like breakfast or lunch or whatever. So he stayed back with Sabbath, and I went, and we had the best time. It was so fun, so funny, just the greatest time. And then we went to a bar, Harry Potter bar, where they made all these incredible drinks that were all like gourmet, but they had like a bubble. I'll post some video this week, this episode's Instagram, but they had like, it was like a bubble on top of the drink that opened up, and then it was like dry ice, and they were delicious. And Philip's wife, Kate, and Talina, our tour manager, who I love Talina, and Charlie, we all got so lit. And it was so funny because Philip left. He's like, I'm leaving you girls. You girls are too much for me. We out drank and out partied Philip Anselmo. He's not partying all that much these days anyway. But regardless, we had a blast. And then the show in Barcelona was amazing.
You know, it reminds me of this story when Gilby was in GNR years ago. We all went to I think it was the Armani boutique, Giorgio Armani boutique, because back in those days when we were traveling and on tour, sometimes the designers would open up their store special for the band, and we would go there after hours, like sometimes like after a show, like at midnight.
Amazing.
And Gilby had really bad, I think he was tired combined with jet lag or whatever, and he always wears his sunglasses. And we were in the store, and I was trying on a million different things. And I look over at him, and he's sitting in a chair with his sunglasses on and having a full conversation with somebody. I can see that they're talking to him, but I noticed that he wasn't answering.
He was like completely out of it.
Yeah, I walk over, I look at him, and I can tell by his body language and the way he's sitting that he is not listening. And I walk over to him, I lift his glasses, and he's fast asleep.
Out cold. That's exactly what was happening with Zach. So Zach was like out on most of it. But then, you know, you had totally got me excited to go to Venice. And Zach has never been.
Yeah, because I truly believe that is one of the places that everybody should experience at least once.
And they say that, right? It's like one of those phenomenal, once in a lifetime, like magical places. And so I've been jonesing to go ever since we talked about that, like 2 years ago when you were on about it. And I really, really wanted to go, and Zach had never been. So I thought, Barcelona, it's like an hour and 15-minute flight. Let's just stay back and we'll go. So we did. Zach and Sabbath and I, we flew to Venice. And we ended up loving it and stayed an extra 2 nights. We were in this magnificent hotel that was like,
hotel looked
I could not wait to film it for you. Zach's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I have to send this to Daniela.
It was like a castle. You guys were in your own.
I felt like we were in a castle.
It was insane.
It was so beautiful. It was called Ca Bondafini, and
right on the canal.
Right on the canal.
The view was spectacular.
Was astounding.
Yeah.
It was everything about it, and it was so quiet from where all the real touristy part of town was. Granted, we were only walking distance, but it was like down one of the canals. It's actually part of the Grand Canal, but further down, almost to where it meets the sea. And we loved every minute of it.
How could you not?
I mean, we were like, why should we even leave this hotel? And then I'm like, well, Venice. So, of course, we had to. But we ended up going to the Da Vinci Museum. We went to, Zach and I alone went to the Esoterica Museum, which was they do an incredible job. I mean, between all the occult things and all the spiritual things. And I mean, did you know how many things Da Vinci invented? I mean,
oh no, it's
amazing.
Yeah, mind-boggling.
Zach and I were floored.
Yeah.
I knew he was more than a painter, but I had no idea. I mean, he was like incredible engineer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing.
I know. And did you go to the Moreno Glass
We
Company?
did not, because it was like a choice between that and going to the
Yeah.
bookstore and the
You guys,
museum.
yeah.
Zach and I are such nerds. Like,
Yeah.
if there's a bookstore, even if it isn't Italian, the majority of it, or museums,
My
we just
thing is just that when I'm traveling to places like that, I always want to buy something that's
is exclusive.
to that place.
Yeah, I agree with you on
because
that.
that's hard to do nowadays with globalization. You can get anything you want on the
I know.
internet from anywhere at any time.
I know.
So when I'm in a place like Venice that's famous for their glass, I wanted to
Yeah.
buy something for the house.
I get that, and I totally agree
Yeah.
with you on that. But I didn't want to take the day.
Yeah, no,
of
and you
like
have Sabbath.
there were
and, yeah.
so many things
Yeah.
that we wanted to do. I mean, we were like laughing because Zach and I both were looking at our health app on our phone, and he's like, "Babe, we've got like 1,000 more steps, and we've done 8 miles today." It's like we put on so much mileage; it was unbelievable. And then, of course, like Zach loves to shop as much as I do, and he especially loves, like, he's on his Reverb buying guitars
Right.
online, and he's like, "Oh, isn't that Gucci? Isn't that like Chloe? Don't you love that shop?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, he and Sabbath sat in the little area, got
instigates.
bubbly water, and he's buying guitars on his phone, and I'm like
He has
talking to
no
you
idea
about
what you're buying.
he's so we're both terrible. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, he's like, "Don't worry, I'll do another show. Buy whatever you want." And I'm like, "No, get the guitar. I don't need another pair of
He
shoes."
just sounds like the perfect husband.
Well, you know for a fact that he's far from, but as far as
far as
that
shopping
goes,
goes,
I
yes,
mean,
he is.
I'm not the perfect wife either by any stretch of the imagination, but I will say
Yeah.
he calls me his perfect wifey all the time. But I laugh because he absolutely is crazy generous.
Yeah.
And he just
So are
loves,
you.
but he loves,
Yeah.
like, his whole thing is like, "Aren't you going to buy anything? Like, we're here. What is it that you're jonesing for?" He was giving me every pair of sunglasses. I'm like, "I have those. I have those. I need,
Gilby's
you know."
like that too
Yeah,
with
it's
me.
very
when
sweet.
when we travel, he always wants to like buy
Gift
me
you something.
Yeah,
It's
he's always like,
awesome.
pick something. I want to get you something from here, which I always love. So.
Yeah, no, honestly, I couldn't find anything. I was not, like you were saying with globalization.
You can get anything you want anywhere.
I buy
Yeah.
myself so much.
Yeah.
Although I will say, I read quite a few things on the plane, and it really is in our best interests as Americans to buy our Italian leather goods and shoes there. We save a ton of money.
Well, you get your VAT back.
Yeah.
Your taxes.
And
So,
just
yeah.
on even in Heathrow, buying them in the airport, it's so much better for us.
Yeah.
And never do the conversion.
Right.
Never say yes to the conversion. So I really was paying attention to that. So I was open, but I just didn't find. And Sabbath was with us, so it was
Yeah.
more about doing things as a family than me shopping.
Well, I think that travel is kind of, for me anyway, and I think for you as well, has shifted into the experience. So it's not about
Totally.
shopping for us anymore.
No.
It's really about having those experiences and making those
Yeah.
memories with our family and our loved
Totally.
ones.
And
Just enjoying
eating.
ourselves. Yeah.
Oh my God, I feel like I need Ozempic or whatever it is now. For I'm just coming home. I'm like,
Far from
I'm on the phone looking for all these, like, Zach, what are you looking at? I'm like, I need that shot. I want to go back to Italy, but I want to be able to like eat my way through Italy and not think
Yeah,
twice.
I've seen you and you don't eat. You nibble. so
Well, I don't eat a lot of food, but I do eat a lot
I've
of
traveled
sweets.
with you. You try to starve me.
Italy's another thing. You know, I'm really disciplined when it comes to starch and bread and
Yeah,
everything.
very disciplined.
But Italy, the pasta, that is one of those things that I
Yeah.
can barely say no to. It's
But
funny.
don't you notice that when you travel to Europe, you can eat your way through Europe. You can have pizza,
you're
and pasta,
walking
and bread,
everywhere.
and cheese, and ice cream, gelato, whatever, and you come back thinner. I always come back thinner
I
because
would say
you walk.
you're right about that for the fact that the amount of walking that
Yeah.
you do. And
Yeah.
it makes no sense to, I mean, yeah, in
I also
Venice
think
you
their
can take
food
the water
is more
tap.
natural. They don't have as many preservatives and
You're
crap in their
100% right
food.
about that.
Yeah.
But everything about the trip was a dream. Everything. Even the flight
Sounds so
home.
fun.
We had the best flight. I mean, everything was just heaven.
Yeah.
I'm like, Zach and I are more now more than ever on a mission to buy a home in Europe.
Yes.
We're looking more primarily in France right now, but we haven't
Well,
ruled
you'll get
Italy
one in
out
France.
again.
We'll get one in Italy, and we can just
There
go
we
visit
go.
each other.
We could just like
our pie in the
pop.
sky dreams.
I mean, it
But,
is
yeah.
incredible that you think like by train or plane, 2 hours,
Yeah.
you're in another magnificent city.
Yeah, that's the beauty of
It's
being in Europe.
incredible.
Yeah. But speaking of which, yes, that's the beauty of being in Europe, but also like I feel that way about California.
Yeah.
Because Gilby and I we take a lot of motorcycle trips, and we
That's
just
true.
took one. He played this past weekend, he played the national anthem at the Moto America motorcycle races.
That's amazing.
And he was all excited because one of the races is a bagger race.
Oh,
So it's the bigger motorcycles.
Yeah.
And they had asked him to come out and play the national anthem, and they invited us to ride in the pace car and all this stuff.
Oh, that's
But the point I'm trying to make, I guess, is you leave LA and you can go to
true.
the mountains, you can go to the snow, you can go to the beach and be
All
in the
year
heat.
long.
Like
I know.
it's just a little drive away, and in our case, a ride. So we took
Right.
the motorcycle and we went up to Monterey because that's where the races
So
were.
beautiful there.
It was so beautiful. And
Yeah.
we left LA and it was scorching hot that day. I was dying on the motorcycle because the heat permeates from the road
I
as
know,
well,
and you have
the
to be
motorcycle.
dressed. Yeah.
Yeah. So they say on motorcycles, you don't dress for the weather, you dress for the road. So you have to, protect yourself no matter what.
Yeah.
But we rode from LA to Monterey. We stopped in Santa Barbara.
Oh, I love
and we
Santa
had lunch
Barbara.
there, which was great.
Phenomenal.
And we went with our friends, with Michael and Susie. And Susie listens to the show all the time.
She's so
oh my
great.
gosh, she brought up a topic at
Okay.
dinner.
Oh, we're gonna have to talk about it.
Yeah, we're going to have to talk about it. I'll go back to
I'm
that.
excited. I love
'cause I'm
these ladies.
Skipping around.
Yeah.
But, so we rode up with them and with our friend Paul. And we stopped in Santa Barbara. We went through San Luis Obispo, Pismo Beach.
It's like all
And-
my favorite jaunts.
So beautiful.
The kids went to school there. Kyle went to Monterey.
Oh, yeah.
And then Haley Ray went to Santa Cruz for one semester before she went to Berkeley.
Right.
So I love that whole.
It's a beautiful ride, and we went along the coast. The guys are really good about not just taking freeways. We always take the back way and go the really
Amazing
fun roads.
PCH and
Go through all the farms. And the thing about riding through on the motorcycle that I love so much is as we're going through the farms, I could smell the strawberry fields.
It's
We went by.
Did you go by any of the lavender? Because lavender's
Oh,
in,
yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, totally. So when you go through Solvang and Los Olivos, and
Yeah.
one of our friends who we've
Yeah.
had on the show has a
Alicia,
lavender and olive
yeah,
oil farm.
it's Pen Love.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she sent us beautiful
I
olive oil.
can't wait to check it out.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah. And so we went through all of that. We got to Monterey. We did the races. And then we had dinner one night because one of Gilby's oldest friends who was in a band with him,
Yeah.
John, was in a band with Gilby called Candy when I very first
Oh,
met Gilby.
right.
He was the drummer in Candy.
That's hysterical.
And he's now a history teacher, and he lives in Monterey.
Wow.
I know, it's so funny.
Now that's an interesting turn of events.
Totally.
It's
And it's so
life
crazy because like when
change.
I first met him and Gilby, he was there the day I met Gilby because I met him on
Right.
the set of their Whatever Happened to Fun video. And John had like long black hair and, all dressed in black. And,
Yeah.
now he's a history teacher. It was so
A
fun
history
to see
teacher.
him.
That's hysterical.
Yeah, he's great. He is so fun. And it was so great to see him. I hadn't seen him in years. I've always loved John. And now that he lives in Monterey, we got together with
Yeah.
him and we had dinner, all of us together. We went to the beach every day, but the temperature was totally different there. It was like
It's so
we
much
left
cooler.
LA and it was in the 90s. We got to Monterey and it was in the 60s.
Yeah.
Low 60s.
I used to watch the temperature in my car just drop
yeah.
as I would go up. Yeah.
So we're sitting at dinner, all of us, and John says to me, I listened to your podcast. And I
Oh.
go, way too much about my menopause and everything else. And he goes, well, I want to talk to you about a subject that you talked about. And then Susie piped in as well.
Oh.
And I was like, well, what subject was it? And he goes, it was when you guys were talking about how young girls are actively seeking older men now.
I think you were talking about that.
I
was not
you
talking
were not.
about
You were
that.
just listening and laughing and snickering. But I said, yeah, what about it? And he goes, well, I don't think you finished it. He goes, you started to talk about it, but there was like no ending to it. I go, oh, okay, well, here's the ending. The ending is.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yes, young girls are trending. It's trending now that young girls are going after older men because older men know how to treat girls better because a lot of. Just go with it, Barb.
Okay,
Just
I'm
go
going with it.
She's shaking her head, but just go with it. So I was like, well, a lot of girls, younger girls, are going after older men because they think that older men treat them better and they're a little bit more established than younger guys. They can afford to take them on vacations. They can afford to spoil them.
Yeah.
And most of the time, older men, come on. Some of it is transactional, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So like guys are really flattered that they're getting attention from younger girls, and younger girls are reaping the benefits of what we've taught all these men,
Right.
right, over the years, how we've made them.
I don't care. I would not be looking up at Bill Belichick. There's nothing, no amount of money, no amount of fame, no amount of
That can
being
make him hot?
a football advocate, lover. There's just no way I could do it. I just couldn't do it. I don't know. Not even when I just couldn't
But
do it.
some girls are attracted to
I
older men.
understand
Period.
that.
They
I
are.
understand that. I
And
understand.
I'm one of them. So
I'm attracted to intellect.
yes.
So I guess if the intelligence came in a package that was older, I guess, but I don't know. I'm out on most of it.
Well, anyways, so going back to the conversation, because we had talked about this on the podcast, he was like, well, what is the you didn't finish the story. And he goes, there's more to it. And I go, yeah, I'll tell you what's more to it. While you guys all are flattered and are into all of the great sex that you're having with a younger girl because, it's exciting and whatever, and a younger girl wants you and it's pumping up your ego and whatever. Guess what? You know what the end result is?
What is it?
They're going to want babies.
Oh, no.
So enjoy that. Enjoy that part of becoming a dad again in your 60s.
And actually, a lot of them do.
And whatever. They do.
I think the end result, honestly, is
They get your life insurance too.
it's not going to last because I worked for Rod Stewart when he was married to Rachel Hunter. And
Yeah.
Rachel and I are exactly the same age. And I remember, when they got divorced, I wasn't surprised. And she said in an interview that, they were in such different places in their lives and she loves and adores them. And they do have 2 children together. But she was saying, like, he was at the point in his life where he wanted to stay home and make his model trains.
Yeah.
Which he was like this whole bottom level of his home were this model trains that he painted and put together and did this whole thing. That was his thing.
Right.
She wanted to go out and play.
Right.
And I think that same's true in the other direction,
Yeah.
older woman, younger man. So I think at some point you have to want to, you have to, I mean, you're only having sex, especially if it's like, he's in his 70s
After a
and
while,
you're 25.
yeah.
I mean, you're only having sex for so many minutes a day.
Yeah.
What are you doing with the rest of that time?
Right.
You know?
Right. I mean, that's the thing is if you're on different pages or different stages in your life, it can be a problem. But we were talking about this before we even went on the air, was MILF Manor.
Oh.
So it came to an end.
Oh.
There was I think it's ended. Yeah, I think so. But anyway, I watched an episode that seemed like the final episode because they made their choices on who they were going to stay with and who they weren't. I didn't finish it, so I'm assuming it was the ending. And what was interesting, there was one couple where she was the older woman and she went with the younger guy.
Right.
And at the end of the day, they chose not to stay together because he definitely wanted kids. And she had grown children.
Right.
And didn't want any more children.
Right.
She was ready to, have the rest of her life to herself.
Yeah.
She's already
the
done
freedom.
her job.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to have kids. So it's true. It's like you're on different pages. But I guess with a lot of men that are going with younger women and they have the means, they don't care. They hire nannies. They hire, they hire help.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that it's an interesting dichotomy, but whatever makes you happy. But you find love, doesn't matter what package it comes in. Good for you.
It doesn't matter. Whatever makes you happy.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I was talking to John and to Susie about it, and John was saying, just for the record, he would date his own age if, he could meet someone his own age. He was saying that, it's hard because nowadays, how do you meet people? It's so hard. Apps, people don't do.
That's pretty much the only way you hear.
That's the only way now. Either that or a matchmaker, because through friends, the art of having friends over for dinner or having little cocktail parties is kind of gone. Like people don't really do that as often anymore. So it's hard to meet people. So I think the moral of the story is, if you want to meet people, you really got to put yourself out there. And I think it'd be nice if we all just made more of an effort to do social gatherings, and introduce our single friends to each other. But then I was watching something else.
But who wants to be responsible for that? I'm
a terrible matchmaker.
I'm
terrible.
Great.
I have a bad record.
Two, Arlene and her husband. I have two couples that I introduced to each other.
Yeah,
they're still together, and I'm 2-0, and I'm done. Because I don't want to be responsible for. It's awful if it's your
terrible.
girlfriend,
terrible.
And it doesn't work out. Then it's like the never-ending.
And you introduce your girlfriend to one of your husband's friends.
Oh, no way!
Oh, Lord have mercy.
No,
yeah, it's bad,
and it just puts you in a really bad situation.
It does.
The chances of people getting together and staying together are really difficult anyway. And then if you had a small part in it. And it's like, then your husband's still friends with his friends and your girlfriend can't stand them. And it puts you in this, it's not a good situation at all.
Yeah. Well, anyways, there you have that. I did read something, though, that was talking about how if you're in a long-term relationship or marriage, how to keep it like a loving relationship. And they said you just always have to hold hands whenever you
sweet.
can. Yeah. Hold hands whenever you can. Like, you always have to connect.
We always do that.
Hold hands whenever you can. This is something we're very guilty of doing. Don't scream at each other through the house. Like, if you want to talk to the other person, go to them.
Fortunately, Zach and I can't hear, so both of us don't know if the other one's screaming. We just think it's a normal decibel for most people.
Oh, my God. We can never hear me. So
Zach and I can't hear each other
at
all, so it's like, come in the room so that we could talk to each other, because both of us can't hear.
Gilby can never hear me, so I always have to go get him. But a lot of times, he will, scream for me because he knows I have bionic hearing.
Yeah.
But it's not it's not a loving way to communicate.
No, it's definitely not.
No. So, if you want to talk to each other, go and talk to the person. Don't just scream for them through the house, because then they can't hear you and they get annoyed.
I know.
It's not a good thing to do. The other thing is always kiss each other goodnight.
We do that too. Yeah.
And always make time for each other, like do a date night or do something special with each other.
Right.
And the other thing is
always date your spouse.
Yeah, date your spouse. Yeah. And the other thing is try to have sex twice a week.
Sometimes we're good with that. Sometimes we're not. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just all depends.
Ebbs and flows.
It's
Ebbs
like
and
it's
flows.
it's
But the key, I think, to that is try.
right.
Right.
Yeah,
So
well,
try
Zach's
to
always
connect. You
trying.
have to keep
24
that
hours a day he's
connection.
trying. It's just
Yeah.
not always successful. But I mean, does two times in one night count?
Yes,
Twice a week?
that counts. That counts as
Okay,
twice a week.
we're okay then.
Yeah.
But
Why not? Why wouldn't that count?
you
Yeah,
know,
take
it
that
is
off your
it
list.
is even more difficult to try and sneak off and do those things when you have a just turned 12-year-old, because
Yeah.
now the 12-year-old knows that you want to be alone, and it's like they just, I don't know, they just know. You know how like you could talk on the phone all the time until you actually get on a phone call that you want to have, and then everyone needs you.
Yes,
Same thing with
always.
sex. It's like you have all this time where you can
Yeah.
sneak off and no one will bother. The minute you're together, it's like, oh, this happens. Or last night, Sabbath was at his first concert without us. Very exciting. We had till midnight. And then the water just unleashed itself from my AC in my closet.
God.
So I was like, oh no, sorry,
Yeah.
Zach. My shoes are way more important to attend to at this very moment than you.
Yeah.
I'll get to you, but the shoes first. But so
Yeah.
that was my night last
Well,
night.
I have news for you, because we don't have a kid in the house anymore, but the dogs.
Oh, they
The
may as well
dogs
be.
interfere. They're like kids. I mean, it's always something. But
Yeah.
but you know, you try and you make the effort, and
Right.
you know, you try to stay connected
Absolutely.
as best you can.
Yeah.
Okay.
And be apart a lot. I
Yes,
think that
and
makes it
make
very
sure
exciting.
you marry someone that travels.
Yeah. Yes, very much so. Or you
Yeah.
travel, but
Yeah.
get those breaks from each other.
Yeah, you need
Makes it
breaks.
exciting to see each other.
It does.
Yeah.
You know, Gilby's playing tonight. He's playing at the Whiskey.
Is today Friday? I thought he was playing Friday.
Today's Thursday.
It is Thursday.
Yeah, he's playing at the
Oh.
Whiskey tonight. And Frankie was supposed to be leaving to go on tour tonight,
I
today.
know.
And then her tour just got canceled because they're
We're
headlining
having
down
a
sick.
huge surge of COVID back in LA.
Yeah, yeah.
It's crazy.
Crazy. I can't believe it's still out there and still happening. So, but I think the good news of that is I think Frankie will go to the show tonight. So
Oh, that's
her and her
good.
band will come.
That's good. I don't
Go
even
see
know if I
Gilby
can
play?
make a show. I'm shocked Sabbath was able to make it. I am like, I'm definitely going to bed like
earlier.
8.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If I have my choice, and if my roof of my ceiling of my bedroom isn't coming down.
Yeah, but there goes our road plan for now. But she
I
has another tour
know.
coming up, so we can try and do a little
I'm
road
so
trip.
excited. We got a road trip.
Yeah, we have to do that. Okay, so is it time for Flicks AF?
Yes.
All right. So I watched.
Oh no. What smut are you bringing to us?
No, it wasn't smut. It wasn't smut. It was Sebastian. Sebastian Bach has.
That's debatable. He tends to be naughty.
Yeah, he is a very naughty guy. But it was really interesting. I watched the Sebastian Bach documentary on E.
Okay.
What is it called? Not E. Oh God. Jeez,
It probably is E.
no, I don't think it's E anymore.
Is it the one
It's
that's? Is it
God,
the
I
one
remember-
that's down from?
I forget that channel.
I don't know, but
Whatever, go
the
figure
only
it out.
channels I really watch are Reels, which is below Bravo, and E. So
Yeah,
it's like
it's not E.
Okay.
I don't remember what channel it's on, but anyway, it's
and it's a Sebastian Bach
it's the new
documentary.
Sebastian Bach
Okay.
documentary. It's only an hour long, but it's really interesting. Because a lot of people don't know that he did theater.
Oh yeah.
He's done a lot of theater. I mean, he's super talented, and it's just funny to see this documentary and knowing him. Because Gilby's really good friends with Sebastian, and they've been on the road so many times for
Right.
Kings of Chaos and all kinds of stuff. And back in GNR, Skid Row played with GNR, and so we were on tour together for a long time.
Right.
So it was really fun. It was a really fun watch for us.
Oh,
Him
I'm
and I
gonna
watched
watch it.
Yeah. If I remember what channel it was on, if it comes to me by some miracle.
Well, we'll Google it. It's how we find
Google
everything
it,
these
yeah.
days.
Yeah, it's the latest new documentary
Oh, cool.
on him, and I thought it was really interesting.
Awesome.
Yeah, so check it out if you get
Very
time.
cool.
Is it time for Barb's Bag of Tricks?
Yes. So I've been trying to think of what I'm going to share, but I'm really loving this product. So it's called Night Shred, and it sounds a lot more sexy than it is. It's by a company called Innosups, and it is. It's kind of got like a combination. Well, I'll tell you actually the ingredients. It has, it's you take it a half hour before you go to sleep, and it helps you to stay in your deeper sleep longer.
Oh, because
But
that's so hard with
yes,
menopause and even with men as you get older, sleep becomes the most coveted,
yes.
like prized
No,
if you
it
can
is.
actually sleep through the night.
I mean, I was just reading this thing the other day that said if you have 2 consecutive nights of poor sleep, it takes makes you feel your body mentally and physically that you've aged 4 years.
Oh yeah, totally. More than that for
Just
me. I
two
feel like I'm
nights.
100 when I don't
So
sleep.
that's
Yeah,
craziness if
yeah.
you think about people that have had insomnia for ages.
It's
So this stuff,
horrible.
I mean, I'll be honest, I don't have trouble falling asleep, but every once in a while I do wake up.
Mm-hmm.
And this I don't.
Oh,
So it's the black edition, and it says it promotes the deepest sleep. It accelerates your nighttime fat burning. So when we
ooh,
sleep and when we're in the deeper part of sleep, our metabolism is really at work, and all
yeah,
of our body's mechanisms for regeneration, all our regenerative um, functioning is happening when we're in that deep sleep.
yeah. You're
And
right
so,
because I read somewhere that people that don't get enough sleep tend to gain weight.
yes, and
Yeah.
so this has something in it that accelerates your metabolism
Mm-hmm.
and the fat burning time in nighttime. And the other thing, which for me was huge, and the reason why I bought this, now granted the bottle's almost empty, so I've been taking this and I love it.
Good.
But it gets rid of nighttime cravings. For me,
Ah,
like you always say, I never eat.
yeah.
I can be so disciplined all day, but when I get in bed and I'm watching television or whatever to try and like
You want
wind down,
snacks?
I want a snack. I'm a
Yeah,
snacker.
yeah.
So this really helps with nighttime cravings,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not a stimulant because most things that curb your appetite are stimulating. This they've been able to put in the context of a nighttime sleep aid.
Mm-hmm.
It's not melatonin. It's not a sleeping pill, but it is unbelievable, and I really love it. I highly recommend it. It's got GABA, which I've talked about before. It has valerian root. It has chamomile,
Yeah.
passion flower, all the things that we know
That
that
are
are really
calming.
safe.
Yeah.
But it also has their proprietary deep relaxation compound called Zeleria. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And basically, it's another herb, and it helps you to stay in that REM sleep longer. And it
Great.
has linoleic acid. It has L-carnitine. All these things. 5-HTP, which has really great reputation for depression.
Mm.
It's a Mother Nature's antidepressant. Um, it has L-tryptophan in it as well, but it's really nice. It does have a little bit of melatonin, but only 3 milligrams. So
Mm-hmm.
not they say 10 is really what helps to put an adult to sleep. 5 to 10,
Right.
10 being more likely. So I highly recommend this,
That's
and
great.
I
I'm gonna
will
have to
put a
give that a
link.
try.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
great
because
stuff.
Gilby and I take melatonin at night before we go to bed, so I'll
You
have to
might
give that a
like this,
try.
and I think Gilby would really love it because the whole, I know he's all into this workout thing right now, so
Yeah.
it really helps, and
Yeah.
especially for that night eating thing because every musician I know, you're so conditioned to eat at night because you do a show, and most of them don't like to eat before a show,
Exactly.
and so you end up eating it. This really
After a
helps.
show, yeah.
Yeah,
They always eat after a show.
yeah.
Does Zach eat after a show?
Not since he started this intermittent fasting thing, which is
Oh,
fascinating to me. He'll eat something around 4 or 5 o'clock, and he does not eat till the next day.
wow.
Yeah, he's
He's
down to
very disciplined.
always has been. And even when he drank, he made sure he outdrank everybody. And he was like on a mission to start in the beginning of the day and go all the way till he passed out. But no, he's been lifting weights religiously
Uh-huh.
since he's a teenager. Never smoked anything.
Yeah. I find
Yeah,
that
he's
musicians can be very disciplined people because
I think it's the opposite part of their brain because a lot of them have ADHD or ADD.
yeah.
Zach absolutely does.
Yeah.
And I think it's just, sometimes ADD, you can be hyper focused. And I think that's part of the whole thing. But
Oh,
he's
interesting.
extremely disciplined
Yeah.
because he will never get everything done in a day that he wants to do if he doesn't keep to his schedule.
Right, right.
I wish I was half as disciplined as he is.
Yeah, Gilby's very disciplined. Sometimes I find I'm shocked by it. I mean, I've been with this man for many years. I know how disciplined he is, but it's shocking to me how disciplined.
It's incredible.
He will go down into the studio when he's got to learn songs, and he'll be in there from morning till night.
Zach, too.
And he doesn't come out. And I go in there and I'm like, here's some water. Here's something to drink. Here's something to eat.
Yeah.
Here's a snack. Take a break. Go get some air. Walk
Totally.
around a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
But he will sit there the whole time. If I don't interrupt him, he'll just stay there until it's time to go to bed.
That's interesting because even with my boys, when they've gone through phases, and now we're just starting with Sabbath where they want to play video games and they get so hyper focused on the computer, and I'll say, you need to get up, you need a break, and Zach's like, that's how I was with when I started to play an instrument, and music theory. But before that, he loved the electric football.
Yeah.
I don't know if you would know it because you weren't really an early, like, preteen and stuff in America, but Gilby will know of it. It was like this electric football game that you plugged into the wall, and all the little football players would be on opposing teams, and then they would vibrate and play each other.
Oh,
and he would play for hours.
Is it like a video game?
No,
or?
it was like a physical board game.
Oh.
But Zach painted his players and grouped them all and had like matches, and it was like a big thing for him. And he's like, leave him alone. That's how I was with electric football. I was like, okay then, I guess, I kept thinking maybe it was a boy thing.
Yeah.
But no, it's just it's that brain.
Yeah. It's
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Do we have any other Barb's bag of tricks, or are we done?
Well, I think we're done for now.
Okay. All right. Well, cool.
Because my jet lag is kicking in. And I don't know if I have
she's
time
fading. She's fading,
to
folks.
get too scientific on another. I don't have that many fun things in my bag today. Not like 2 weeks ago.
All right, kids. Well, I think that'll do it for this episode of Honest AF.
Bye, everybody.
Make sure to check us out on our socials, Honest AF show, all across the board. HonestAFshow.com is our website. If you are any subjects or products that you want us to review or discuss, hit us up.
And now you can literally check us out on YouTube and watch us.
Yep, exactly.
I don't know if that's interesting to you, but we're excited about it.
Yeah, we are very excited. All right. Well, thank you very much for listening. And until next time, y'all take care. Bye. We obviously need to do a disclaimer here. So we want you to know we are not doctors or experts by any stretch of the imagination. We are just a couple of gals that are looking for magical products, procedures, and experiences. And in our quest, we will share our honest as fuck opinions with you. So please make sure before you try anything we talk about that you know your own restrictions and do so at your own risk. Do not blame us for any of your issues. We're just experimenting too.